This is a battle in the Call of Warhammer mod between me and Indie Pride. Indie Pride commanding the Dark Elves and me commanding their lighter cousins, the High Elves. And we decided this map is like the only open part of this map is over here on the flanks. So we just basically agreed to not fight in the forest here because, I mean, this would be a horrible time to watch and a horrible time to play, more importantly. Now let's go over the armies here. The Dark Elves, in my opinion, one of the weaker factions in Call of Warhammer. They have a small selection of relatively expensive troops. Let's see, we have the Black Guard of Nagaron here, wielding halberds, so he has a front line of 3 Black Guard of Nagaron. Perfect for my army, and I'll show you why in a second. Then we have Dark Elf Warriors here, 4 Dark Elf Warriors. We have Witch Elves of Cain, Assassins, and Assassins. Over here on the flanks we have Dark Elf Spears, together with the Dark Riders, Crossbow Cavalry. Then we have the Cold One Knights, and they are very problematic units. Let's see, we have 3 Cold One Knights, and they're going to be a problem for Indie Pride here. I have Illyrian Reavers, 2 Illyrian Reavers, High Elf Spears, Silver Helms, Dragon Princes of Calador, Swordmasters, Dragon Princes. I also have some High Elf Mages, Silver Helms. This was after Indie Pride put a spanking on my dwarves with his Kislev Ice Mages, so I figured, okay, I'm going to hurt him now with these High Elf Mages. And then we have Lothern Sea Guard up front, High Elf Archers behind. I always like to have Lothern Sea Guard and Archers. Lothern Sea Guard being a spear Archer hybrid unit. You can see that my High Elves are already starting to get ready to fire here. So Indie Pride is going to have to run across the battlefield under a hail of fire. This is not going to be fun for him, I promise that. And already, look at him drop. Look at the hail of arrows here. His front line's just disappearing, so he starts to run now. I believe he has some sorceresses somewhere, but I'm not really sure. So the Black Guard, lacking any shields, they are going to take a beating here. Already dropped significantly, and with each volley, these guys are just getting slaughtered. Over here we're getting a cavalry engagement. I'm crashing into his Dark Elf Spears, supporting with my own spears, trying to intercept his Cold One Knights here. He also has some Dark Riders, and you notice how quickly the Dark Riders were able to kill my Illyrian Reavers, because that's one of the things with the Dark Elves. They have extremely dangerous skirmishers. My Silver Helms attacking the Cold One Knights in the rear, so good job by them. Still, they are following my Illyrian Reavers here, so he's going to be able to fight downhill. In the central engagement though, my Lothern Sea Guard have fired, so I'm just going to leave them here. Then I'm going to send my Swordmasters of Hoeth through them. And look at the Black Guard. The Black Guard is down by... I mean, the Black Guard is almost completely destroyed here. And that's very good for me. The Assassins haven't started firing yet. So my Swordmasters together with my Lothern Sea Guard should be able to hold reasonably well. High Elf Spears not doing too well, but doing a very important job in holding off these units. The Cold One Knights defeat is a distinct possibility for now. My Dragon Princes and Silver Helms are sort of surrounded here by Cold One Knights. One of the problems with the Cold One Knights is that their charges do not work. Not a very effective unit at this point. Dragon Princes charging into the Dark Elf Warriors. And since I essentially have free reign of the battlefield here, I'm going to try to use my Dragon Princes to great effect. The Assassins getting hammered by both magic and missile fire. Now the Dark Elf Warriors are not doing a horrible job here, but they had to charge into the Lothern Sea Guard, and then the Swordmasters were able to charge in unmolested. And that's so important because you don't have too many Swordmasters. On the battlefield. Now the Assassins are fighting to the last man here. Let's see how the cavalry fight is going. Getting another charge with the Silver Helms here. Very, very important. Dropping some cold ones there. over here as well, the Silver Helms are very fast actually. So they're able to catch the Dark Riders here and do some damage to them. But they really have to catch the Dark Riders as well, because the rate of fire on the Dark Riders means that they will be killing Silver Helms. Silver Helms, although they are light, they have very nice armor. But they are dropping here, they're dropping really quickly actually. But I'm making a conscious decision here to just chase away the Dark Riders with a single unit. The fights over here are going fine, so I'm not too worried about it. Chase after with the Illyrian Reavers. Fire at the Dark Riders, the very lightly armored Dark Riders. This fight is amazingly still going on. The High Elf Spears still fighting. But over here by the main engagement, the Blackguard was just hammered by missiles. And the Dark Elf Warriors going into shield wall here, but that means they're fighting at a bit of a weird angle. So I'm trying to find somewhere to use my Dragon Princess here, and I'm not really sure where to punch through, because these fights are relatively stable. So in engagements like these where I am losing, I just want to pour as much arrow fire into the engagements as possible. I think that was the enemy general dying there. So the assassins, the Dark Elf Warriors, eating a lot of fire here from the High Elf Archers. They were able to win their respective engagements, but now they're up against mages here. And I'm running my Swordmasters to intercept, so the mages aren't engaged in combat. Here come the Swordmasters, and goodbye go the Dark Elf Warriors. And this fight is still going on. The spears down to 2 men. They will not break here. The Cold One Knights are breaking. A lot of dead cavalry here. So now we have, let's see. These units are still running about. They aren't firing, so there's the unit over here. This is why I don't like forests. It's so hard to see what's going on down here in the forest. There should be some units here, but can't really find them. See, they should be right over. Yeah, there they are. Chasing some Dark Riders off the field here. So the Silver Helms managed to survive there. And I'm pulling up my hill. Swordmasters fighting the Dark Elf Warriors. They're going to destroy them. Just making sure that nothing comes back from routing. But at this point, as you can see by the balance of power, it really is over. The High Elf Spears wrapping around the Dark Elf Warriors. And considering how old this game is, these models look, I mean, they look fantastic, I think, for how old the game is. And I've played this mod a lot, so I think if Warhammer is anything like this, Total War Warhammer is anything like this, I'm going to be playing the shit out of it. However, there will be, at least for the Empire faction, Orc and Goblin faction, and certainly also Chaos, I think the variety of units is going to be very low compared to Call of Warhammer. But some factions have very few units, like the High Elves and the Dark Elves. They have some of the smallest rosters in the game. But the High Elves are still, the High Elves and the Dark Elves, still very distinct factions. The Dark Elves, though, they suffer massively from the fact that their Cold One Knights do as poorly as they do. But the Dark Elf crossbows are great. Very few missile units can kill as quickly as they can. The Dragon Princess chasing after something, it seems. So only a few engagements left here. A few Witch Elves, a few Blackguard fighting up against the Swordmasters. About to break, yeah, breaking the Blackguard here, but fighting down to 1 man. The morale of the Elven units, quite good overall. So unless you get in rear charges and some missiles and cavalry, these fights take a long time. Like the Witch Elves, 1 chick remaining and they are still eager. Just chopping away at each other, and I mean, look at this. Let's see if she's able to stab someone. There we go, she died. Now only this Blackguard left. That charge should finish him off. Yeah, he got poked to death by 5 lances. Now there's only this fight remaining, and finally the cold ones and the spears start to break. A bunch of Dark Elf units running off the battlefield. Yeah, these Dark Riders as well. So quite a few High Elves left on the battlefield, very few Dark Elves left on the battlefield, but it's super hard. It's super hard to command the Dark Elves against the High Elves, because the High Elf cavalry is just so much better. The range of the Elven bows is great. So let's see, 1700 versus 1000 kills. So it wasn't as complete of a slaughter as the Dwarves versus Kislev. The Witch Elves for Indie Pride did a good job. A very good job. The Dark Elf Warriors also did a good job up against the Lutheran Sea Guard. I can't unfortunately see my results because I didn't save the replay. Indie Pride sent it to me. So overall the performance isn't that poor, but the Blackguard of Nagaron just got slaughtered, and those are a lot of points going down the drain. Not having magic as well is a bit of an issue, because all of these 4 Cold One Knights, you can see by their kills and their casualties that they are not being cost effective in this battle whatsoever. So a mix of warriors, spears and skirmish is what I usually find to work reasonably well as the Dark Elves, because you need a lot of man or elf power. The Cold One Knights, just if you're playing the Call of Warhammer mod, just leave the Cold One Knights at home, because they're just not going to do anything. The battles I've won with the Dark Elves, I win them because of the Dark Riders, Warriors, Spears and Crossbows. Which is too bad really, because it means that the more unique flavor units aren't. I mean, the Witch Elves, you can bring the Witch Elves, they are decent. But the potentially some of the coolest units are worthless, the Cold War Knights. Strength and Honor.